How's it going, ScrubGamers? Welcome back to another video here at ScrubGames, and today I've got a little discussion video going on for you guys to go over the top 10 winners, I feel the top 10 winners of the Anniversary Box 2020 support. So if you've seen Anniversary Box, or if you're brand new, basically Anniversary Boxes are something that we've had for the last few years now. I think this is the fourth one, but it's the 5th anniversary, and in each time they've done an anniversary box, it's been reprints of cards that you want, plus it's been brand new cards that support older archetypes. And over time it supports something old, they give them something to bring them up into they try and bring them up into the current format, so you can play them again and make them a little bit more viable, because they might have fallen out of favour, being power crept, or just by not as being that great and needing a bit of support to make them a bit more playable. And for this one, normally they do, as I said, they used to do reprints of cards that need to be reprinted, and some brand new cards, some other stuff. So it comes also with sleeves and in a storage box as well, and a few packs to try and get the full versions. Now in this one, we get a full 2 copies of each of the support cards that are normal battle cards, unisons, and for the Z cards, because it is in the Zenkai set. For the Zenkai set cards, you get 2 packs that with I think 12 in each pack, to try and pull, have a chance to pull some of them. So you're not guaranteed to get the Zenkai cards, but you are guaranteed to get 2 copies of the brand new cards, being the battle cards and unisons. And also in this one you do get a reprint set as well. So you get I think you get a reprint set, maybe 1 of each of the cards that have been errated in past, so reprints with the correct text, because it's nice to have the correct text on cards, especially for tournaments, so people can actually read the card and see what it does, and not have to be told, oh yeah, it's been errated. And as well, you still get a nice pack of sleeves, and it's the first time I think they're doing a foil box as well. So while they're not be interested in many people, some other people might be interested to have a foil box. And for this one, we get a load of new cards, a load of interesting ones, and they all support older archetypes. So some of them are spot on, some of them are amazing, and some of them kind of do miss the mark. So where we're going to go is over the top 10 ones I reckon support the anniversary, some older archetypes the best. And this is more how they, not actually what they do, what deck they support, or if it's older, or if it needs support, but the fact of how it supports. So starting off, we'll go with the first one. So they're not in really any particular order. I think the last one is probably the one I think gives the best support, but these are the 10, they're in no particular order. So the first one is supporting Token Toa, and that is through the middle card you can see there, which is Poutine Scheme's Most Wicked. So with each of these slides, I'll show the card that was brought out, and then with them two cards of the deck they support. And in this case, it's this Poutine in the middle that supports Token Toa, being this leader, and which normally uses this unison. And the great thing about this and how it supports it is it gives the deck a bit more consistency, because with a deck it's got an alternative awaken condition on the front side, which if you've got a unison in play, you can awaken via that way, and which a lot of awakenings now do. They've got a way to just awaken a certain amount of life, which is normally 4, maybe a little bit different in some leads. But as well, you have an alternative awaken condition where if you fulfill a certain condition, in this case having a free specified cost black unison on board, you get to have the awaken in that way as well. So you can, in some ways you can awaken at a certain life total, or you can hit a higher life total as long as you fulfill a condition. And for Toa, it's finding the unison, and this Poutine allows you to help try and find it. Plus, it also does a nice use auto as well, because the auto is quite nice. Where if your leader's black, which it will be if you're playing Toa, and you move 1 of your skillless battle cards from the game, when it's using the combo you draw 1 card, and that's nice because Toa puts out a ton of tokens, and tokens are skillless unless they have the blocker tag. So if they don't have blocker, which some of the effects can give tokens blocker, then they're counted as skillless, and removed from the game is not great if you're using actual skillless cards, because once it's removed from the game it's gone for good, whereas tokens you don't really care about because they're going to be removed from the game anyway. So having this to have even an extra bit of combo to remove a token to get a bit more draw power is really nice, but the main thing is the activate main, which is if your leader is a black Toa and you discard this card from your hand. So that's just the cost, just having that lead and discarding this from your hand. You get to look at the top 5 cards of your deck and add up to 1 Evil Wizard or Demon God, both black with energy cost of 5 or less. It gets the Boss Toa card for the deck and most of the archetype as well, most of the battle cards. Or you get to grab a black Unison with a specific cost of 3 and add them to your hand and shuffle your deck. Now, having a full playset of this in your deck allows you to grab things you want, like circle for your deck. It gives you some deck thinning, which, as we know, deck thinning is deck winning, and also allows the consistency to find your Unison when you want. So when you get the turn 3, you can drop that down and awaken straight away. Make sure you can guarantee that by turn 3 you're awakening, or even find pieces that you want, which is great. And even using that second auto as well to just combo and get more draw power, because it makes it almost like a super combo, but 5k, is really handy as well. So that is the first one, Tokutoa. So that improves the deck because of the consistency it gives it. And even though this deck wasn't too bad, it wasn't highly competitive. It's still like a fun niche casual deck that you can play and was quite decent. But now it brings it like higher up on the tier, to potentially be like a tier 2, I feel. And then we go to the next deck that gets support, and I feel is one of the top 10, and that is Black Broly. So Black Broly is probably the one that gets one of the biggest supports, because it's one of the worst before this, because it was released as a promo leader with the release of, with the rerun of the movie in the cinemas, and as well as that, it was also able to really not do much, because it's a black lead that requires another color in it to really function and do what it needs to do. And it didn't really get any archetype with it. It's just a standalone black leader, Black Saiyan leader, which, if there is support for doing Black Saiyan stuff, like Black Saiyan stuff, but there's ever better leaders you can do. Like you've got Vegex, you've got this Gogeta Zeno, you've got the SSG Trunks, you've got better Black Saiyan leaders. So playing anything that needs a Black Saiyan leader, you play it in a different leader. So this kind was like a lead that never really saw any play, like barely saw any play, because it was just very bad. And also on the front side, it doesn't really gain advantage. It just means you need to attack a leader, which, unless you're drawing a card or gaining advantage, it's never worth it. Just to crit yourself a life, so lose a life, not even get that back to your hand, just to kind of self-awaken but badly, and then mill free to make them discard one. And if you're attacking a leader, they're going to discard one and then get a life by taking a life, getting that card back, so they're not really losing anything apart from life, which you're basically helping them self-awakening while not gaining anything. And it was just really bad. But now it has got support in essentially 2 cards. Well, 1 card specifically for it, and 1 card that's not specifically for it, but is a great boost for any Broly lead. And the support that's dedicated to it is a Z leader, so it is one of the few cards that got a Z leader for the support. Some of them got Z battle cards, this one got a Z leader. And it requires 2 Z energy and to pay 2 when your fights at 4 or less on top of Black Broly. It becomes a 30k double strike, which is pretty strong aggressively, that you can swing with your awakened leader first, and then a Z awaken during the combat, so you can have it surprised as a 30k double strike. Otherwise, if you bring out 30k double strike and then swing with it, it can get negated. But if you do it during combat, it's past the window of being able to be stopped, and then you can bring this down. And it allows you to play more, actually put some more green in the deck as well, because, as I said, the leader needs some non-black cards to get most of it its full effect on the auto when it attacks on the making side. And Broly is typically a green deck, so it allows you to play some green and go for a hand control deck, or less an advantage deck, which is quite nice. And it's got a nice auto where you discard 2 cards from your hand. When it's placed on top of your leader, you get to play an SS3 Broly but Zen Berserker from your drop in on its permanent skill, and that is the ISR from back in set 7, which is one of those cards where you need to be playing mono or have only its colour in all your visible areas, both you and your opponent can see, to be able to play it. So being able to ignore that is quite handy for this, and it gives it a pretty strong. And also you can also discard that card that you're going to play from your hand to mitigate losing 2 from hand to place for a drop, to mitigate the amount of loss you're getting in card wise. And then at the start of your opponent's main phase, you can root from the game, so you're going to lose this. So you can only replay this during your turn, because as the Z Awaken is also only during your turn, you only get it for your turn to be able to have that 30k double strike and these effects. But it is pretty decent. It is quite costly too, but it's not too bad. And it's got a pretty nice activate main as well, which is once per turn. You place 1 non-black card when you battle area again, and you drop area. So once again, you have to place a non-black card. So you can't really play as a mono black. You have to have a different colour to be able to make full use of these effects. And it's quite decent in the fact that you choose up one of your opponent's battle cards and warp it, and then your opponent sends 1 card from hand to the warp. So that gives you some extra like control aspects, which is quite cool. And even then, if you're bringing up the SS3 Broly's Head Berserker, you can always use the active main to get rid of that card as the card you choose after it's attacked. And being a 35k, you're going to want to attack with it. And then the other card that gets support, which is also pretty decent support, is the SS Broly, the Demon Revive Z Battle card. Now this is a two cost that requires 1 Z energy 15k. And it does have a red-green specified cost, but its permanent makes it so you can still play it with this lead. Because it's permanent is if your leader is a Broly card, you ignore this card's specified cost in all areas, and this card can't be KO'd by skills what's in the battle area. So that means you can play it and not worry about the specified cost at the top, the 1 red and 1 green. And it's got 2 nice effects. The first one is an auto. When it attacks, you use it to 1 red or green card with 5k combo from your drop in a combo with its skills to get it for the turn. And if you have 4 or fewer cards in your hand, you draw 1. So it allows you to mitigate having a low hand by getting some draws. If you're keeping it a low hand, you can get an extra bit of draw. So like drawing from your lead and be able to draw from this as well. It's quite nice. And also it helps you set up your Z energy. So you could be using 1 Z energy to play it out anyway, and then attack with it to get that Z energy back into your Z energy for your Z lead or for anything else, which is really handy. And as well as that, you also have the activate main, which is very useful, which allows you to discard a card from your hand as the cost, and then you add up to 1 card from your life to your hand. So that's optional. You can take a life if you don't want to. So you can take a life, so it helps you self-awaken without using the leader's front side to crit a life, which is not great. They'll help you awaken quickly because you want to flip over to your front side as soon as possible. And you get 1 or 2 effects. You either pop one of your opponent's battle cards with 20k power or less, or you make him discard a card from hand. So discarding a card can add to, like with some of the green's identity, to make him discard, and with the leader's kind of thing, which makes you the opponent discard. It's like a hand controller deck. But it needs to really benefit to make it a little bit more viable. I've been testing. I will have a deck profile of it soon as well, and I probably will try it for locals as well. And it's just very fun. I'm just waiting for the anniversary box to drop to be able to try it out. But this deck looks very fun to play, and these 2 cards bring up massively from where it once was, which is why it's one of the top 10 winners from the anniversary box. Then for the next one, we have Reboot Brutus. So this gets a nice little boost from the Whis Z Battle card from the anniversary box, which is Whis from on high. Now this is a fantastic card because the thing with Reboot Brutus is it's basically a reboot of the first set Brutus, and it does almost exactly the same, just it has a little bit better and easier way to awaken and actual easier way to get draw power, because now it has draw on the front side instead of just the back side, and it's got an easier awakening where rather than just be at 4 more life, you can be at 4 more energy as well to awaken. And since you're a ramp deck, because Brutus is a ramp deck, you can awaken once you get to turn 4, or at 4 which is 4 energy. And it also has a nice little permanent as well, where once your opponent gets down to 4 less life, you can use the leader swing to ramp more to get to that 16 energy win condition, which is activate main, pay 16 energy, win the game. So it's like imagining Exodia for Yu-Gi-Oh!, which is like nice if you like those win cons. And this Whis is very handy because it's more ramp in that you always have access to, because it is a 2 cost with 1 Z energy required. It's a nice little auto where if your leader is a mono blue Brutus card and all your energy is mono blue, when this card is added, play up to 1 mono blue card from your drop to your energy in rest mode. So that's great. You get to charge any mono blue card from your drop to your energy. And since you're going to be paying 1 Z energy to play it, and Z energy is sent from the Z energy to drop, you always have a target when you play it as well. And the nice thing about this is if you play things like the Zeno Super Combo, you can kind of keep reusing those by essentially using the Zeno Super Combo to defend yourself, bounce something back from your energies back to your hand and replace it with another card in active mode, charge that Zeno Super Combo, and then you can bring out Whis, sending that Zeno Super Combo to the drop, charging that Zeno Super Combo to your energy, and now if you have another Zeno Super Combo, you can use that to grab back that Zeno Super Combo and keep repeating that loop and use it 4 times, so essentially giving you like 8 super combos in a game, which is fantastic. Like, not many other decks allow you to have such things, but yeah, you can legitimately have more super combos than you originally intended to through this little loop. And it's got a nice little active main where if you move this card from the game, you get to choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards with entry cost of 4 or less and put on their top of the deck. And that's nice because it sets your opponent back a turn where they're not drawing anything new, they're drawing the same card they played. And if it's a heavily costly 4-drop they've got, or a card they need to get out by a certain means that is not easily able to do, you get rid of it. And also the fact that you get something off their board so it's not there for the next turn is still very handy, especially when you put it in the top deck. It might not be bottom decking, but at least by top deck they have to re-establish it, which they've already paid the energy the turn before, so it's quite a decent effect there as well. And yeah, this really benefits because it adds more ramp to it to make it a more viable and like more competitive as well ramp deck. I feel like it's going to be one of the better ramp decks going to finals as well. Then the next one we have is Yellow Wish Zamasu. Now this gets 2 benefits. It doesn't look like it gets 2 benefits, but it does. And that is through the getting a Z leader specifically to support this lead, and also a Goku Black card, which actually works with this as well as any mono blue deck and any Zamasu Black Goku Black deck. So Yellow Zamasu is, as it says, a wish deck. So it's one of those wish leaders which needs the balls in the drop to be able to flip over. But it's one of the better ones and one of the new improved ones, which I hope they do more of. Which doesn't require you to have just fully all the balls in drop to awaken. It also has a way to flip over and awaken at a certain life total, which really all of them should have had. But hey ho, it's one of the new ones where you can get either go to a certain life total or get all the balls in the drop to be able to flip over. And it also is also new and improved in the fact that if it uses its third and like strongest activate main skill, which means you have to remove the 7 Dragon Balls when you drop to do it, it doesn't get flipped back to its front side, which made no sense to make a wish and have it flip you back. So that's like this is probably like how wish cards should have been like from the beginning really. But it gets some support in a Z leader, which requires you to send 1 Z energy from your Z energy to your drop, pay 1 yellow, be at 4 or less life, and send 1 Zamasu, 1 Goku Black from your Z energy to your warp, and goes on top of a yellow Goku Black. So that's fine because all Z leaders need to be played on top of an awakened leader, so a leader on their backside, which always makes sense. And it still keeps draw power by the auto being an attack draw 1, so no longer has to just activate main draw card. It just has to attack the draw 1, which is fine because you'll be flipping over to your Z leader after you use the ultimate skill of removing 7 Dragon Balls to give it triple attack. And it's also got a nice activate battle, which allows you to once per turn place 2 non-super combos Zamasu and Goku Black cards from your drop area at the bottom of your deck in any order. You'll be putting 1 of each in your deck drop anyway from the Z Awakens, so that's fine. And then this card gets 5k power and double strike for the battle. Then you choose up to 1 of your Zamasu cards and switch to act move at the end of your turn. So it allows you to swing with 1 of your guys and then restand it at the end, which is so you can use it because most of them are blocker. And it's just a free at any point when it's in combat. Make your leader at 25k double strike to allow you to try and finish off games. So it's not the best leader, but it's pretty good. It's decent and a good one to have for this lead. And not only that, it also gets a never bit support like the Black Broly card did. That's not direct, but also could work with it. And that is SS Rose Goku Black, Mortals Be Gone. Now this is normally going to be something that most mono blue decks or like blue leaders are going to play because it's a fantastic card. It's a 4-drop 20k with double strikes. That's like the standard for most 4-drops nowadays. And it has a nice little auto of when this card is played, draw 1 card, then choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost of 4 or less and place it at the bottom of his owner's deck. And this is a great effect because it means your opponent has to worry about if you've got it in hand, if they try to go for game with a battle card that's 4 or less, because you can always just drop this. And you can drop this because it's activate battle skill, which is limit 1, by paying 1 blue if your leader is a mono blue or Zamasu or Goku Black card, and you have 3 or more Z energy, play this card from your hand. So you can play it during either player's turn as long as you have 3 or more Z energy with one of those leaders, so any mono blue lead or Zamasu lead or as Goku Black, which this will be a Zamasu or Goku Black. And it's very easy, and you're going to be playing loads of Goku Black stuff and Mountain Z energy to allow you to awaken when you want to awaken. So this is just going to be great in your opponent's turn. Pay 1 blue, drop this, draw a card and bottom net the card, and then establish a 20k double striker in your opponent's turn. It's just fantastic and replaces gives you some better Goku Black options as well for the lead, because that's one thing it lacks is some good Goku Black options. So having this will make it a lot better and give it that extra bit of power and aggression. So for the next one, we have Yellow Topo, and this is one that probably gets some of the best support because the thing with Yellow Topo is it's supposed to be a lockdown deck, because as you can see from its front side it's got a permanent where if you have a yellow unison card with a specified cost of 2 in play, when a player plays a battle card, that player can't play battle cards for the turn. So it means both you and your opponent are both locked down to playing 1 battle card a turn, which is very good because some decks nowadays they want to spam out loads, and this is a nice deck that allows you to stop that. But the only issue is protecting your unison. Like yellow is quite good with like defense, but it's not as easy to defend your a unison especially since yellow units and specified cost 2 aren't the greatest. So you have strong ones like the one on board, which came with the lead, which is Vegito Unison of Fury. And it's a very good one in the meta, because a lot of things are playing out things that are higher than energy. So being able to stop them from attacking using -1 is great, but protecting it and keeping markers on it and stopping your opponent from being able to attack with it is quite difficult. But that's where this new Dispo Hyper Speed Strike comes in from the Anniversary box. It allows you have a way to protect your lead, because remember, one thing to note with a lead as well is that it also has an alternative awakening condition where if you've got a yellow unison in play with a specified cost of 2, you can awaken any life and get down to 6. So it allows you to awaken turn 2 at least after dropping unison, and when it awakens it untaps 2 energy as well. So this Dispo is a 20k barrier card with a permanent. That is the best part about it, which is if this card is in rest mode, your opponent can't attack your unisons with specified cost of 2. So while it's in rest mode, your opponent cannot attack with anything your unison. And the longer you can protect your unison, the easier it is to lock your opponents to only playing one battle card a turn. And then if they want to get to it, they have to get through Dispo, which unless they got barrier removal, which not many decks are quite costly for most decks, they're going to have to attack into it. And the best thing about attacking Dispo instead of Unison is the Unison doesn't give you a defensive step where Dispo does. So using having to attack Dispo at 20k means you have to combo up to it, and you can combo out, and it gives you a chance to charge your Z energy to play some of your Z battle cards as well to keep your hand high and play stuff from a different area. And it also has some useful skills because it comes out cheaper than its 4 cost, because I said it's something that can come out turn 2. And that is its active main, which is limit 1 by paying 2 yellow. If your leader is a yellow topo card and you have a unison card with a specified cost 2 in play, you draw 1 card and play this card from your hand. So not only can you just play this on turn 2 your unison, awaken with lead, and then pay 2 to bring this out, it also replaces itself in hand by drawing 1, and then can then attack and be in rest mode to stop your opponent from being able to attack into unison. So keep the markers up and stuff. And if you ever get floodgated out and you're wondering how you're going to get this rest bow and rest, well, thankfully the unison here allows you to rest a battle card or itself to gain a marker, so you can always rest this bow. And if you do that with the unison, it has an auto when this card is switched to rest mode by one of your skills, switch it to active mode so you can swing with it, and then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost of 5 or less in rest mode and KO it. So it gives you an extra bit of removal as well if you want to do that first. Choose to rest this bow to pop one of their battle cards, so that means they'll have less cards on the board to be able to attack into the use and try and push through to get rid of this little lock, and then attack with it afterwards, which is quite nice. So this is one of the another one of the best ones, which allows you to further this is how it should be with the aim. This is the aim for this deck, is be able to establish a unison and create a lock where your opponent's locked into playing 1 battle card a turn, and be able to have a way to make it more effective and protect that kind of lock is how it should be supporting. The support should be helping towards what the deck's aim is, and help support that, which this does absolutely perfectly. And then we have Reboot Hit. So this is another one of the reboot leads. So back at set 9 we got some reboot leads. We've getting one, not as like a campaign rare like we did for set 9, but we can get them for pre-releases stuff, some reboot leaders and different kind of promo leaders that are reboots of old ones, which is really nice. It's really nice to get reboot leaders, because some leads really, some leads can get a nice bit of support to help them be good in the format. Some do need to be rebooted properly, and Hit was one of them. It was from set 1, and it was reboot to be a lot better, get a lot more draw power and a lot more pressure. But it didn't really take off, because one thing it has an issue with is being able to awaken, because while it can still hit your opponent's leader while it's awakened by going to 15k on the front, because when it attacks the leader you draw a card and gain 5k power to make it 15k attacking your opponent's lead at any still gain advantage. That's all it's really doing. It's not doing much more, because it has no built-in self-awakening. It has no alternate awakening condition either, which is a shame, but it is still a very good card, because when it awakens you're able to attack, draw a card, go up to 20k, gain 5k for the battle, so keep the draw on a card and gain 5k, and then you get the player skillless when you drop when entry cost of 2 or less, so have a little bit of skillless spam, and most 2 cost skillless cards are 20k, so actually a bit of that pressure on. Then it has a very nice little activate main / battle, which is very good, which once per turn you get to choose 1 card in your hand and place it in the drop area, and then choose one of your opponent's battle cards with double strike, critical, or blocker, and KO it, which gives you a nice little bit of removal, because quite a few things now have double strike weak to push pressure, or critical to kind of deny you advantage, or even have blocker to get rid of things that can defend against you and block your attacks, is very handy. But like I said, the only issue with this deck was not being able to self-awaken easy, like having to put cards in to help self-awaken, which wasn't the best. But now it gets a Unison in Hit Ready to Brawl, which is a 2 specific cost red Unison with 15k power. And it can help you self-awaken through its auto and activate main +1 marker skill. So its auto is once per turn, when this card is attacked with a card of 10k power or more, you switch the target of the attack to your leader. So as long as since it's got to be 10k power or more, means it's at least at minimum able to match your leader's awaken side, which means it can force through, take it, and take the damage to help you awaken. But not only that, it also has an activate main, which is a marker skill to help you awaken, which is add up to 1 card from your life to your hand, and then place up to 1 skill or battle card with energy cost of 2 or less, energy cost of 2 from your deck in your drop area, then shuffle your deck. So this allows you to have you look through your deck to try and find its 2 costs, to give you like deck advantage to see what's in your deck, to kind of predict what's in your life. And as well as that, set up for when you go to your awaken side of your lead, to be able to then swing and play its place blank out, which is a great setup. So not only does it help the issue with not being able to self-awaken easy, but also allowing you to set up your lead without having to combo off cards to get that, on the awaken side, get the full advantage of its auto. It also has a way to make use of one of the, like an old hit that was used to be one of the best cards in the format, which is this Ever Marker skill. Being activate main, it's +0 marker skill, which is play 2 red, and if your leader is a red hit card and your opponent has 3 or more energy, you play one of your mono red hit cards with energy cost of 4 from your hand. And if you're thinking, well, what card is that? That is I think the only target, or one of the best targets for it, is the old hit from the first theme booster, which was a 20k double strike that came down and allows you to look at your opponent's hand and warp 2 cards from it until the end of their turn. At the end of their next turn, they get them back. It allows you to get hand knowledge to see what they have, to see if you can push through or how to defend the next turn, and then give you a 25k double strike to pressure with, which is very good. And having it back, be able to be played in this deck if you want to, is very handy as well. So this is once again another good card to support an older archetype. And for the next one, we have Universe 7 Goku. So while this doesn't seem like a deck that really needs support, because it was good from the get-go and has been a meta deck up until recently when stronger red decks came in to dominate the format over it, it's still a strong deck, but it did get some support in the anniversary box because for some reason Bandai thought they needed it. And it is Android 18 with Reckless Abandonment. Now this deck is a deck that mills itself out. So if you ever played Yu-Gi-Oh, it's similar to like Lightsworn, where you're milling yourself out and gain advantage through milling yourself to be able to play things cheap, or even get advantage for things you milled and set up certain things for you, while also gaining a high amount of cards in hand with a high life total as well. And Android 18 is a really good card that works with it because it's a counter attack, a really nice one. It's a free cost 15k, and its counter attack is limit 1, negate the attack and play this card. Then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and it gets minus 15k power for the turn. Now that's the thing with red, and especially with this deck, all about minusing power, and this does it a lot with quite a few cards in the deck, like the Frieza that comes down minus 15, the Goku counterplay comes down minus 15, and then you have a negate that also comes down to minus 15. And it also, not only that, has 3 permanents. There's also a lot of permanents. First one is similar to most of the cards in the deck, which is permanent Sparky 7. If your leader is a mono red Universe 7 Son Goku card, you reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 2, so it makes it a 1 cost negate, so that's even better. Just 1 cost negate attack, then minus up by 15k, you can potentially stop 2 attacks with that. And another permanent, which is an odd one, is if this card removed from the battle area, removed from the game instead, but that would be it would be really strong if it didn't have this permanent, if in combination with the second permanent. If it didn't have the second permanent, this third permanent would be absolutely busted. Just keep looping it, and that is, you can activate this card's counter skill from your drop by paying its energy costs and discarding 1 card from your hand. So if it would be removed from the game, you can keep negating from the drop, then combo off, or let it die if they get attacked over or removed, then keep having that skill from your drop. But it's really nice because if you mill yourself and you mill this card, you have access to any point in your drop, and by discarding a card from your hand, you can put something in your drop that you want, like say a Quartz Sky or something like that. And if you don't, you can always have it in your hand and discard off your leader's skill, like unawakened skill that needs to discard a card from hand. So that's not too bad. So that's very good support, even though it's not really needed for that deck. it's still good support. Like, it goes well with the actual theme of the deck. And for the next one, we have Greenville. So this is a lead that came out in one of the sets that wasn't very great. There are two sets back. I think it was set 14 and set 15. Those sets were not great. 14 a bit better than 15. 15 was one of those sets where none of the archetypes were particularly good, like good at all, but they had some very good secret rares and staple like SRs and stuff like that for any color. And 14 was the one just before it, which didn't have many, like, seemed lackluster compared to the sets before, but had some decent niche cards that were like quite good rogue picks. And one of those was the Green Majin Buu lead. Like, this was a very good lead that actually put in some performance. I think UKGE in the UK came in top of that. And it's just a very good deck, very fun deck. It just has trouble in a red format, which is what we have now. But it gets a nice bit of support in the Z leader as well, because so this Majin Buu has a way to you place on the front side. It's also is place a card from your life under this card, and draw 2 cards. So your Awakening and Draw power built in. And then on the front side, it's just got when it attacks, you draw one. But on both sides, you need to have a Unison play to remove a marker from the Unison to be able to steal a card from your opponent's put underneath it. So on the front side, it takes like from your opponent's drop, that's 4 or less, to put underneath, and then use one of its keyword skills on as if it had it itself. And on the Awakened side, it allows to do that, but go for a drop or board to take a 4 cost or less and place it underneath it. But the Z leader goes one step further than that. So to awaken into it, you need to be at 3 or less life, pay 1 green energy, and send 2 cards from your Z energy to drop, and go over this lead when it's awakened. And now you no longer need to Spirit Boost. So that's one benefit. You no longer have a Unison board to keep taking cards and be able to run your whole mechanic, which is requiring you to have cards in your leader so you can move them from a different Buu and do your stuff. Now you don't need to do that at all. You don't need to move a marker, and you've got better and wider options on what you can take and stuff like that. So it does loses auto, which allows you to draw when it attacks, but it can still draw. So it's one of the few Z leads that actually still draw on their once they're down. So most of them lose their draw to have a strong effect, but this still keeps a draw effect. The first activate main is not that great, because it's once per turn plays 3 non-leader cards from this card in their own drop areas, and play up to 1 green Majin Buu with energy cost of 4 from your hand. Now, there are better ways to bring out 4-drop Majin Buus that aren't from your hand, from other ways, and cheaper as well, because it's quite costly having 3 non-leader cards underneath it. And the best target you would want isn't counted as a mono green in hand, that is the black promo one. Isn't counted as mono green in your hand, only in your deck, and I think drop. So that's not a great activate main. The other one though is a lot better, because it's once per turn, place 1 card from your hand under this card. So you need to have a card in hand to place underneath it. But now you get the draw 2 cards, so you still have that draw power, so you're losing a card from hand, but then replace it with 2 more from your deck. And then you get to choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards in the battle area or a drop area placed under this card. So that's any battle card in your opponent's battle area or drop. So no cost restrictions, anything like that. So if your opponent's got an 8-drop, like 8-drop Omega Sin, you get to just swipe that from the board and place it underneath. And then not only that, you get to choose up to 1 keyword skill from the card chosen with this card skill and have it gain that skill for the turn. So yeah, you'd be able to take your opponents in the Sin matchup. They're a big 8-drop Omega, see it in there and give your leader triple strike. Having a 20k triple strike leader as well is very, very strong. Or any of things like dual attack and things like that, you get to just extra still. But it just means now when you use the Awakening this, you no longer have to worry about having a Unison, could be Unison on board to be able to keep taking stuff. You can now just do it while also drawing for your deck. So you can technically swing with your leader and then Awaken on the swing if you want to, and then be able to use the activate main after. Just play a card from hand underneath it, draw 2 cards, take one of those things, and choose the keyword skill from it. And that gives it a massive benefit, because now if you lose your Unison, you then stifled with how you're going to be able to put cards underneath your lead. So now having an option where you don't need a Unison to put underneath under when you go to your Zealer, which is also a 20k base, which is very, very good defensively and offensively as well, is great. So this just in fact it becomes a 20k lead, which is massive. Being able to keep draw power and also being able to not worry about having to take markers off Unison and roll on Unison and be able to steal things is amazing, while keeping with the strategy of the deck, which is bringing out those 4-drop Buus and tokens and going wide. So this gets a heavy benefit and very nice to see. The next one we have is the Blue Buu. So both blue decks decks, well, two blue decks allowed getting advantage. And while this isn't the best one, it gets us in the benefit to like Toe. It gets like the benefit of consistency. Because this card is really nice, a really nice one. With it's got Deflect and Unique. It's a free cost 15k, but it's got two autos in activate main. The first auto is limit 1 if your opponent has 2 or more energy. When you play a blue Majin Buu card with energy cost of 4 or more from your energy, you get to play this card from your hand. So if you do your whole thing, which with this Buu, it's playing your Buus from energy, like playing them out. And the only thing, it's got to be an energy cost of 4 or more. So it's not just restricted to the 4 cost, it's restricted to like any of the big ones you get out. So any of the big Buus you get out from energy, you get to drop this down. And it also has a nice little auto if your leader is a blue Majin Buu card. When this card is killed by opponent's attack or placed in your drop area by opponent's skill, you get to play this card from your drop and rest mode. So if they keep attacking it, if they attack into it, it gets KO'd, it just comes straight back. Or if they send it to a drop, like minus it for a skill, or like just send it to the drop in some way, shape or form, it just comes straight back. So it's almost immortal unless you can like use things like warping to get rid of it. Like warping and spinning from any area that's not the drop is a way you can get rid of it. Otherwise just attacking into it, it's just going to keep coming back, which is quite nice. They just keep having this 15k that you can attack with that's hard to remove. And it's got a nice activate main as well, which is where the consistency comes in. Because the deck is like normally milling a lot with its activate main. And as well as that, you normally want to avoid, like, you don't have control over what you mill. And this has a nice way of like being able to set up your plays, which is activate main limit 1. If your leader is a blue Majin Buu card, you discard this card from your hand, similar to the cost of the Poutine for a Token Tower. You get to look at top 7 cards of your decks, that's quite a lot, top 7 cards of your deck, and out to 1 blue Majin Buu card with entry cost of 4 or less among them, so you don't get to get many targets, but you get the ones that help start your chain off. And not only that, you get to place one other card among them in your drop area off your deck. And if you're getting confused about why you want to place one ever card among them in your drop, well, there could be some ever cards that you want your drops. If you're playing like anything that rises drops, so say you want to include in your decks, and like the Draw Apes or something like that, or Quetzalcoatl, you get to put those in your drop. Well, you can't use those because they're permanent on the lead. But if you've got something that you want to trigger and drop, you can always check that, send that in there. But as well with the Buu chain, they are like some of the chains require there are Gotenks in there because, as you know, in the series, Buu absorbs a lot, like quite a few characters, and as part of the chains, he absorbs Gotenks and also absorbs Gohan, and those are some characters you need in your drop to absorb from drop to be able to do your chains. And so, if you see a Gotenks or a Gohan among them, if you want to set up for a certain player and need one of them in your drop, you can always send them as well. So not only do you get to look at top 7 to find a blue Buu that's 4 or less, you also get to set up your drop with a Gotenks or a Gohan if they're also among that top 7 as well. So this is great consistency for the deck, and it is a fun casual deck, and it brings it up to a little bit higher, having that little bit of consistency to help the deck as well. And then we go on to the last deck that gets some huge benefit. And if you've seen some of my decks, my videos over the past week or two, then you'll understand what the last one is, and that is the Set 2 Red Vegito deck. So this lead gets a huge benefit, because it's one of those really old leaders, like most of these, all the way back to Set 2, and it gets a phenomenal benefit because it gets two Z cards dedicated to itself. It gets a Z leader and a Z battle card as well. And it really helps the deck because one thing this leader lacked is like a fan favorite that's been supported over and over and over in anniversary boxes, and it's finally this last bit of support is actually what it needs to actually be decent and be used like in the competitive meta properly. So it's an old leader which on the front side doesn't give you any advantage. It can mill you a card from your deck, which is not good, and it's one of those old ones where you go down 4 less life to be able to draw 2 and awaken. Not great on the front side. The front side is absolutely terrible. But now it has a way to flip over and awaken easier. Well, not awaken, but flip over easier and still keep the draw 2. And that's through the Z Battle card SS Vegito ready when you are. So both these Z cards only require 1 Z energy. And this Z Battle card requires just 1 green energy as well. Which is fine because the Z leader has a permanent, the normal leader has a permanent where each Son Goku and Vegeta in all your areas gains red, blue and green. So as long as you charged a Goku or Vegeta, you have that green access always. And it's got a nice little extra permanent where if there are 3 or more colours in your Z energy, it gains barrier, which once again, the leader's permanent allows you to have that triggered if you've just got any one Goku or Vegeta still in your Z energy when it's played. And it has deflect as well, I mean it can't be stopped from coming out, so it potentially can gain 2 skills that should be on 1 card. But not only that, it also has a bit of consistency as well, where its auto is when it's played, look at the top 7 cards for your top of your deck, add it to any one Vegito card among them to your hand, shuffle your deck, and then if you added a card from your hand, you have to place 1 card from your hand on the bottom of your deck. And that's great because you get to get that consistency of finding a Vegito card, which is relevant to one of the skills on the Z battle card, and also there's quite a few Vegitos that it's got over time to help you get consistency and actually play stuff quite well. And the best thing about that is you get a look at top 7, then you shuffle your deck and you put the card that you have to return to the bottom of your deck, so you're not shuffling it back in the draw into it. You can put it to the bottom so you can draw into new cards if you want to. And the way it can awaken easier is with Activate Main, where if your leader is a red Vegito card, its front side is facing up, and you have 2 or more energy, so live to use as soon as you get the 2 energy. It's live. In between that, either you or your opponents had a turn, and you can swing the combo 1 card that make that Z energy requirement, and you remove this card from the game. The effect is you flip your leader over to its backside and draw 2 cards. Essentially, turn 2, in either player's turn, up until that turn 2, you've swung or been swung at, you combo a card amount of Z energy, and you just play this out, pay one green energy, send the card from your Z energy to your drop, play this out, do the top 7 search, and then you can then activate main, remove this from the game, flip your lever and draw 2. And then when you're on your awakened side, you now at least get to auto of when it attacks draws 1. It doesn't matter about the every part of the auto, that's the only relevant part, it's just attack and draw 1. It still has the permanent as well to keep that all those skills. And now you're able to have this Z leader put on. And a Z leader requires 1 Z energy, and for you to pay 1 red, they go on top of Vegeta. You don't have any life requirement, you just need to pay 1 red energy, and send 1 card from your Z energy. That's one of the best ways. Well, if it was free it'd be better, but it's one of the best ways to do it. You can Z leader, drop your Z leader any life total, unlike most ones that require a certain life total, which is fantastic. It is now a 15k double strike. It loses the auto to swing and draw 1, but it still gains advantage. And it still has the permanent as well, keeping your Son Goku and Vegeta cards being always red, blue and green in all areas. And now it gains 2 fantastic activate mains when it goes in the Z leader. First one is to establish some strict, big, strong bodies, and the other one is draw power plus removal. So the first activate main is once per turn. If you have 3 or more energy and you choose one of your Vegito Z battle cards in play, so any more copies, you drop with this 1 drop. After the first one you'll be removing to get that flip over. And the other ones you play are going to go towards, for this one, this activate main, and that allows you to play up to 1 Vegito card with energy cost of 8 from your hand on top of the chosen card. So essentially, after you've used the first Z battle card, you play them out again once you get the free energy, so the turn after you've awakened. You bring out these Z battle cards to search for that Vegito you want to slam on top, and then just use the leader's effect, choose that Z battle card to slam an 8 drop down on it, and most of the end drops are quite strong, like you get things that are 35k, triple strikes with deflect and barrier. You get other ones that can get 2 attacks in that are both critical and 1 being double strike, and you can even drop a secret rare that allows you to tap your opponent out by 4 and draw 4 cards and being a triple striker as well. Like some powerful cards you can drop on top of those Z battle cards, and for just 1 energy dropping an 8 drop 35k triple strike barrier is busted. Not only that, you'll have also have the activate main, which still allows you to get some advantage as well, which is once per turn. Place 1 card from your hand at the bottom of your deck, so allows you to fix cards from your hand as well, so put something back that you want in your deck, or put a card that's not useful in your hand back in your deck to try and draw 2 brand new cards, because the rest of the effect is you draw 2 cards, so bottom deck 1 to draw 2, you're still plussing 1, which is something a lot of some Z leaders don't do, and then you get to choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier and return it to his owner's hand. Now that's fantastic because it's barrier removal and draw built in, so not only you putting back a dead card to draw 2 cards, or a card that you want back in your deck to draw 2, you're also getting some removal as well through barrier, and that's the best bit because every deck needs barrier removal, and you get to bounce it back. Now it does seem like a blue effect, but it's actually quite a decent one because one of the best things you can use this on is our Z cards. If your opponent gets some of those Z cards, like in blue, you get those ones like that Vegito that has barrier and it's a triple striker. You can just bounce that back because but then because the Z battle card gets removed in game, it's totally gone. Or if your opponent's got something that they took a lot of time and effort and resources to try and get out, put it back in their hand and they have to go through the effort trying to get it back out again. And just be able to bounce things that they have in hand that's just hindering you, like things that barrier, like deadly offenders, or things that they took a while to get out. Bounce it back to the hand to then put out the way, or like get rid of blockers out the way so you can swing at lead. It's fantastic. Now this is probably the winner of, I would say, the winner of Anniversary Box, because it just gets so much support that supports it way more than any other deck did. But that is it for the video. So these are the top 10 winners. Feel free to like the video if you do enjoy this little video and these discussion videos I do. And also comment down below what if you think this list was correct, if you agree, what ones you reckon benefit, like I've missed out or didn't put in, or what do you think was the true winner if you don't agree with me that Red Setsu Vegito was the winner of Anniversary Box. Love to see what your opinions are, what cards you would say are better winners than some, and just to get a bit of discussion going. And also don't forget to subscribe, because it keeps you updated with my videos as when they drop, especially if you get the notification bell to get alerts. And as well, it helps me get to my goal of 1,000 subs, which I'm almost coming up to halfway there. So once again, thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye for now.